Jai Hind everyone, my name is Mukulit Goel. I am assistant professor in MC department and today I am here to present a topic which is based on the various process models from subject software project management for MC students. So first of all, I would discuss about the contents of my slide. So the content are based on the selection of project approach, then choice of process models, then the definition and the details of the 5 process models, which is waterfall model, rapid application development model, V process model, prototyping model and incremental model. So first I will start with the selection of project approach. So in the selection of project approach, so the important is in-house development or the software houses. So most of these issues resolved by the planning and the standard. International standard, planning and standards. So the development is governed by the some planning and standards, and these planning and standards are described in the various process models. So and one is software houses, which is more applicable as different customers have different needs. So the different customers have different needs will be filled by the software houses, and based on the customer needs, these software houses will develop the projects. Then the selection of the approach is governed by the uncertainties of the project, properties of application to be built. So what is the uncertainties of the project? The uncertainties of the project means if any project have some unique features or which cannot be entertained by anyone, and also during the development of the project, if we have any uncertainties like risk analysis, like risk management, like cost analysis or cost benefit analysis, all these time duration, time schedule, all these are the uncertainties of the project. And the properties of application to be built. So the properties of application includes where this application or the project can be used, or what is its applications and properties that this project will fulfill. So the general approach is look at the risk and uncertainties. First of all, what is required is that are requirements well understood, and what we have well understood are also aligned with the technologies for developing a project, and the technologies which is to be used is also well understood or not. Okay. So the technologies comprises of core Java, advanced Java, or you can say Python. So all these technologies are also well understood before starting any project, and the requirement of the project which is given by any client, or it has been developed in-house for their own purpose. So we have to look at the type of the application. The example is information system, embedded system. What is the difference between information system and an embedded system? The main difference between information system and an embedded system is that information system is based on some data, and we can say the information system is used when we want to convey something to any user, or okay. So the software development, basically the applications we develop in information system, and in today's date embedded system is directly related, we can say it is directly related or somewhat related to the IoT, in which we embed anything or we design any device. So the application so the example of information system is like Microsoft Office is an information system. We create our document, we create our presentation using Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint, or we build our data based on Microsoft Excel. And embedded system, the examples of embedded systems are washing machine, microwave oven, all these are the examples of embedded system. And what we have to look also on the differences between the target and the development environment and client's own requirement, because each client has its own requirement and need to use a particular method. For example, if we can say that we want to, if a client comes to our company, we have a company and we are into the software development, a client come to us for develop a mobile app. So the technologies or the method for developing a mobile app is different from developing a desktop based application, or we can say system based application like Microsoft Office. But when we have to develop that Microsoft Office for Android, we have to do some changes in its coding or in its technology. So the clients have their own requirement and want to use its own method, like the client have their own specification that I need to develop my project or my website particular in PHP. I want to, and another client have their own specification that they want their own website, their own company website in AngularJS or Node.js. So the approach of client also depends ki what method he wants to use. So on the basis of this, we have the choice of process models. The main categories of process models are, one is waterfall, which is also known as one shot or once through. Okay, the another is incremental. These all categories I will discuss in the preceding slides. Incremental delivery, evolutionary development, and use of agile method, or we can say in other words extreme programming. So I will start with waterfall model. Basically, waterfall model is a one shot model in which all the phases are in by like we have the stairs. So we start with the feasibility study. Feasibility study means our raw idea on which we have study, and based on our study we create a user requirement ki what we want to do. On the basis of this requirement, the analysis is done. After the analysis, what we have to do? We have to do to design a system, the system design, and the next step is program design. For system design and the program design, we use a specialized language which we call a unified modeling language. In this unified modeling language, they have their own diagrams like use case diagram or ER diagram or package diagram, class diagram, incremental diagram, sequence diagram. So if we take an example of sequence diagram, so what sequence diagram shows? Sequence diagram shows the step by step sequence of your project or of your product, ki what comes first and at what stage your project will be considered as it is complete. So after this, the next phase is coding. After coding, we do a testing, and testing we do a operation or implementation. This is the waterfall model. First we do feasibility study, then we take a requirement from the user, then we do analysis on the base of those requirements, whether these requirements can be fulfilled or not. After an analysis, we do a design, system design and program design. On the basis of this design, we do a coding based on some technology. After coding, we do a testing. In testing, we check whether these designs whether this project is working properly or not. After testing, we do a operation or implementation. In waterfall model, it is a classical model which imposes structure on the project, and every stage needs to be checked and signed off. But it has a limited scope of operation. Because of its limited scope of operation, we can select another model which is rapid application development model. This rapid application development model is based on prototyping. What do you mean by prototyping? Prototyping means before designing a main project, we develop a prototype. In another word, we can say prototype like sample. So first we design and develop a sample, and after design and development of sample, we construct the main project or main product. So in rapid application development model, we first take the requirement. After taking the requirement, the user define in the design phase. In waterfall model, we have a design phase which is system design and program design. In rapid application development, we have a user design phase which develop a prototype, and in this prototype we test this prototype, and if any refinement requirement, then we do that refinement in this prototype only. Okay. If after the all the process of prototype is over and the prototype is cleared all its testing and refinement, then we construct the main model or product, and after that we do a implementation. So, rapid application development means an adaptive software development model based on prototyping and quick feedback with less emphasis on specific planning. Rather than planning, the rapid application development is based on the prototyping, and it takes the idea from the conventional waterfall model, but waterfall model is ineffective because it's miss the key features and unit testing. After waterfall model, there is a V process model. In this model, we create a V-shaped structure like you are seeing. So, it starts with it have the same phases or like we have in waterfall model, but rather than stairs, we use a V-shaped processes. So, what this V-shape define? We have the same stages like feasibility study, user requirement, system design, program design, and coding as the end point, or you can say as a curve point, from which we take a V shape. So, feasibility study, user requirement, system design, program design, and after the program design we do a code. So, after coding, if we do a testing, and in testing we see there is some corrections are to be required, then in program testing we do a corrections in program design. If we do a system testing, then if any corrections are required, then those corrections can be done in system design. If we go an upper stage, when we do a user acceptance, what we do is user acceptance means these user acceptance will be aligned with the user requirement. Whatever the user requirements are given to the company or to any software house, then these user requirements will be fulfilled and meet all the characteristics after developing that project. So, we do a user acceptance. So, whether user accept this prototype or this project, if not any correction is needed, then those corrections can be done in the user requirements. And finally, we do a review, and review corrections is related with the feasibility study. So, it is another way of looking on the waterfall model. It have all the phases which are already in the waterfall model, but instead of the shape of the stairs, it will take a V shape. 4 steps will go down and the 4 steps will go up. After this, we have a evolutionary model. It is a iterative process of creating quickly and in a specific live and working model to test our requirement and assumption. In iterative process, we again and again and again we check and we improve by using a iterative model. So, in iterative model, we learn by doing it, we improve our communication, we improve the user involvement, because after in iteration model we do each iteration again and again, and the more user involvement is required in this. Next is the feedback loop is established, means when we do a iterative and we do a prototyping, then in prototyping we need a feedback. If we have not get a feedback in prototyping, then how that prototype will get approved or how that prototype will be converted into a final product. In iterative and prototyping model, we reduces the need for documentation, we reduces the maintenance cost. Okay. We reduces the maintenance cost. What is the maintenance cost? Maintenance cost is the cost maintenance cost is the cost which we use when our project will got live and we want to do any changes. In prototype can be used for producing accepted result. Some of the you can say disadvantages of prototyping. The disadvantages are user may understood the role of a prototype, lack of the project and the project control and standards are possible, additional expense of building a prototype, and focus on user friendly interface could be at expense of machine efficiency. So, in prototyping we use another way of categorizing what is being learned: organizational prototype, hardware software prototype, application prototype. And what are these three? What is organizational prototype? When we develop a prototype based on an organization. Second, hardware and software prototype, which we do an experiment, like we develop a project on automatic door system. We develop a prototype ki let us see ki how these automatic lock system will do when door system can perform. So, if that prototype work well, then we launch it. If it fails, then we will work more, or we will work hard so that it can work more efficiently. An application prototype is exploratory, in which we explore ki what are the requirements required for this application, and to what extent. Mockups, simulated interaction, partial working models. So, what is mockup? Mockup is like I said ki we develop a automatic door system, but that does not work properly. Simulated interaction. Simulated interaction means ki we just interact with the want to check what is the performance of the product. And partial working models means ki we start the working on the semi constructed model. So, after prototyping we do a incremental model. So, the incremental model, it is based on the three phases, which is first increment model, in which we design, build, install and evaluate. So, in all these three we do a same thing, but there is a difference. What is the difference? Ki after each phase of increment, our evaluation changes. After doing a first increment, it takes a lot of time. After doing a second increment, it incurs less time. And in third increment, we can say that our product is totally ready. So, in incremental delivery, we use 4 phases, which is design, build, install and evaluate. And on basis of these 4 processes, we increment our model. The incremental process includes identify system objectives, create open technology plan and plan increments. The increment can also be say that the innovations or any changes. Okay. So, we have to identify the objectives, and after identify the objective, we have to design the increment, then we have to build the increment, then we have to implement the increment, and after implementing the increment, we have to evaluate its result. Okay. And these increment stages all can repeat and each have their feedback. So, evaluating the result, we can take the feedback, and evaluating the result, we can also take a feedback based on our system objective which we have identified. For example, if I evaluate the result that after designing a website, the AngularJS can work more efficiently rather than PHP. So, I have to take this feedback and I have to implement and change the technology before the delivery of my project, or after delivering of the project, I have to update it from PHP to AngularJS. Its benefits are feedback at the earlier stages, shorter development threshold, user gets some benefits earlier, project may put aside temporarily, and reduce gold plating. What is gold plating? Gold plating means ki we cannot say that our project is the best or what we have done is the best. So, it will reduce the gold plating, and the basis of the feedback we have to change our product also. And the disadvantages are loss of economy because of the change and software breakage. These steps ideally 1 to 5% of the total projects. Non-computer steps should be included. Ideal if a step take up 1 month or less, not more than 3 months, and each step should deliver more benefits to the user, and some steps will physically dependent on others. The last is dynamic system development method. In short, we can say is DSDM, and DSDM is based on the UK consortium. It is a more project management approach than a development approach. Okay, and it can still use DFDs, and DFDs full form is data flow diagram. So, DSDM have their 9 principles, and these 9 principles are active user involvement, team empowered to make decisions, frequent delivery of products, fitness for business purpose, iterative and incremental delivery, changes are reversible. If we do any change, then we can reverse that change if that change is not up to the mark, or if we can say that that change will increase the that change increase the time, or you can say cost. So, 7, the requirement based line at the high level. 8th is testing integrated with the development, and 9th is collaborated and cooperative approach. The framework of DSDM is have the same steps, but it have the circle. So, the feasibility study will have some schedule. After feasibility study or business study, we do some schedule, and that schedule we have created a functional prototype. We have designed a functional model, then we create a prototype and identify the functional prototype, and after identifying we also review it, and after passing the review we do a design and build a interaction, and after designing and building an interaction we do a implementation. So, this is the DSDM framework, and it has some deadline in which we have to deliver the project, which is typically 2 to 6 weeks, and it should have these have the criteria that it should have all the essential and important, and it should have very important aspects of project. Last is extreme programming. In extreme programming, we have to increment in 1 to 3 weeks. Customer can suggest improvement at any point of time. Argued at distinction between design and building of software are artificial. Means in extreme programming, the customer can also argue for the design and building of the software. Code to be developed to meet current needs only. Means what is currently requirement, we have to develop according to that. We have to code according to the current needs. In extreme programming, we can frequently do refactoring. Then developer can work in pairs, test cases and expected result device before software design. Means in extreme programming, we design our test cases before the software design, and after testing of increment, test cases added to the consolidated set of test cases. Means after doing a testing, we add it into a increment model. With all this, I have discussed our 6 process models. Thank you.